On October 16, 2023, the FBI released its annual report on crime in the United States. As part of the Uniform Crime Reporting Program that began in 1930, this year's report provides detailed data on over 11 million criminal offenses committed in jurisdictions where over 300 million people live, representing 97.4% of the United States' total population. Violent crime consists of murder and non-negligent manslaughter, rape, aggravated assault, and robbery. In 2022, violent crime decreased 1.7% across the United States. Still, an estimated 1.2 million violent crime offenses were committed, indicating an offense rate of 369.8 violent crimes per 100,000 inhabitants. Although violent crime decreased ever so slightly, that was not the case for property crime, which consists of burglary, breaking and entering, larceny, theft offenses, and motor vehicle theft. Property crime increased 7% from 2021 to 2022. An estimated 6.5 million property crime offenses were committed in 2022. A new classification for 2022, estimates on carjacking, are now provided by the FBI. The program defines carjacking as a robbery offense where the property stolen is identified as a vehicle. An estimated 25,400 carjacking offenses occurred nationwide in 2022, and at least one weapon was involved in an estimated 22,700 of these. The rate of homicide offenses across the United States decreased from 6.8 per 100,000 in 2021 to 6.3 in 2022. While this sounds promising, it's still significantly higher than the rate was a decade ago, at 4.7 in 2012. 50% of offenders were between the ages of 20 and 39, and 45% of homicides occurred in the victim's residence. The next most common place for homicides in the United States? Roads, highways, alleys, streets, and sidewalks, accounting for nearly 30%. Speaking of where homicides are taking place, according to this data, New Orleans, Baltimore, and Detroit led the country in homicide rates in 2022. But the murder capital of the United States is still Chicago, with just shy of 700 murders. Despite 1 million fewer people than Los Angeles, Chicago had nearly twice as many murders. When looking at regions, you're most likely to be a victim of property crime in the West, but more likely to be murdered in the South. 14,789 of 19,196, or 77%, of homicides in 2022 were committed using firearms. On the opposite end of the spectrum, 20 victims died by strangulation, 15 by poison, and 1 by explosives. Although 163 victims had not yet celebrated their first birthday and 343 were 75 or older, the most common age range for victims was individuals in their 20s, accounting for over a quarter of all murder victims. Finally, looking at the offenders for whom gender was known, 87.8% were male, as were 78% of the murder victims. We gotta do better, fellas. These statistics tell us about the crimes, but what about solving them? Law enforcement agencies can clear or close incidents by arrest or exceptional means. For example, if there's enough evidence to arrest an offender who's been identified and located, but a special circumstance prevents law enforcement from being able to arrest the person. In 2022, only 33% of violent crimes were cleared. Even worse, only 11% of property crimes were cleared. What do you think about these statistics? Let us know in the comments, and if you like this video, be sure to subscribe for more content just like it. Also, check out our True Crime Podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, here on YouTube, or on our website, brothersincrimepodcast.com.